Okay, so let's go back over to the display command because we haven't fixed the problem. We've at least patched up our endpoint. So we're showing the message. Okay, so we'll need to come to that a little bit and refactor it. Let's go over to our game request and our parse strategy, and let's just go ahead and think through this the same way we thought through render strategy to make sure that we at least have these two endpoints kind of cleaned up. So all I have is the string. So what we might decide is that we need to confer quite a bit more responsibility over to the hive mind, so that in the game request and what if the game request looked like so we have game action, we know what that is. Okay, so to clean this up, in our previous console application, we were doing a lot of decisions kind of preemptively for the hive mind. We were saying, hey, if we know that this is nonsense, let's go ahead and just return back. Like here, where we say, hey, if this is a bad, we'll just go ahead and return no suitable command. We don't really have that luxury anymore because we're deferring all that responsibility over to the server. So now the server really has to decide all these things for us. We're also passing back the room we're in. Well, now that we have this multiplayer asynchronous world, we really have to leave it up to the hive mind to decide in that instant who's in the room, if the target's still viable, and how it's going to play out, right? So we really need to respect the sanctity of the server, and that's why we're making it a singleton. The whole point of this was to make sure that as requests come in, they're coming in, they're being stacked in order, and they're being processed in order. So if you send in attack Beth, and by the time your request gets to the server, Beth has left the room, the response you get back should be a message saying Beth moves to the west, and your action was canceled because it's not viable anymore. So we're really kind of chewing through this a little bit, and it's good. It's going to make it's the only way we can really make the game successful as far as something you can play and something that makes sense. So our new parse just involves taking in the command creating a new game request, splitting up the command, and trying to find the associated game action. And we still have to solve the problem of how do we get the sender and then how do we get the target. That's going to be tough because all we have are the commands. Maybe something we can handle in that handshake. Remember we said we need to be able to handshake with the server first, establish some things, and maybe one of the things we establish is we do a hey you, this is me. And so right now we've got a connection, a socket, and we know what that socket is. What if we established a player ID to that socket? It wouldn't solve the target issue, but it would. Actually, no, I take that back. We actually have the target. We just need to make it a part of this, right? So maybe all we really need to send is args1 and 1 will be the target. If it's invalid, we'll let the hive mind figure that out. And the hive mind will know who we are because when we first connect, we'll tell it our name, and then it will associate our game ID with our IP address. This is all very conceptual right now. But we are standing on the shoulders of giants. These are all things that had to be thought about and considered. And it's interesting to see them at this level, right? Like, what do you have access to? How can you discern these things? How can you derive this information when you're essentially talking to a black box? So, come over here and we'll just say the target is a string. And there will be no sender. And there will be no room key. So we've broken our game terribly, but 24 errors, incredible. But it is a necessary evil. Alright, I'm going to stop here, and then tomorrow at the same time, 6:45, we're going to jump right back in, and I promise we're going to clean up all this mess, and at the end of it, we're going to have a nice, pretty, shiny game server and client that we can play and log into and do fun stuff with. And I'm really excited about that. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and check in, and I apologize. I'm going to commit some broken code. Did it all go where it needed to go? Okay, so I committed all that, it's broken. What we know we need to do, we have our singleton. It's going to come in handy. We're going to take advantage of that by really ripping the guts out of this thing and deferring a lot of this responsibility onto the hive mind. Which shouldn't be too hard. It seems intimidating at first, but we really only have 100 lines of code here that was our command parser. And what we want to do is take everything that's inside of this and make it the responsibility of the hive mind, and then really beef up what it gives us back in terms of our game response. So we'll keep our action map and we'll keep a few other things, but really all this other stuff is going to go away. Alright, that's going to be it. I thank everybody for hanging out. Mystical Polka, I'll be on the lookout for your stream. I hope I can make it. I got some other things to do tonight, but I'll definitely keep an eye out. Doja Green, if you come back, thanks for the mud love, and I really hope let's get to a place where we can definitely hang our hat on it and say that pays tribute to all the great old ones. Legend of the Red Dragon, your Trade Wars, your Major Mud, the Tele Arena, and God Wars Apocalypse. Never heard of it, but it's definitely something I'm going to check out now because, heaven is written in text. And then Eshkatite, as always, thanks for hanging out. Probably my most loyal viewer at this point. Hope you got a lot out of it. There's more great stuff to come as we really dig in to some of the more advanced patterns and really making something that seems beyond the beginner and intermediate, but is actually totally accessible if you take it slow and chew through it. All right, I'm going to let Twitch catch up, and then as always, I'll give my one last wave goodbye, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, that's it. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you tomorrow.